Just another day in the office, here with a JPGivin'er analysis. In this video, I'll be analyzing Ty's perspective from a 6v6 between pirate hackers and cart vengers. Ty is definitely more of a high-level player compared to my most recent analysis videos, so this could be useful for some lower-level players watching a higher-up player and what they do right and wrong. As always, if you want to submit your perspective, DM me on Discord. My server and the submission process are both in the description, so you can find me there and we can talk about putting you in the lineup. But without further ado, let's start giving her, bud. Just before getting started, if you enjoy this video, consider subscribing. It's free, it helps me out a lot, and you can always change your mind. Starting things off, we got Yoshi Valley. I think Ty plays this race alright for the most part. He didn't make any game-changing mistakes, but there are a few minor flaws here and there worth mentioning. And as always, when I say you, I'm most likely referring to Ty. Alright, Ty, this talking point isn't too deep. Simply put, you should have taken the double box. I know the guy right behind you didn't, but considering you never steered out of your regular line, he very well could have taken the doubles, perhaps pulling double reds. While you did pull double protection, he could have chained into the following set after you would have passed it. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. The point is, you wouldn't have lost out on much by stealing the double box from your opponents, even if you were only to get one more item like you would if you took a single box. Denying opponents of a better chance to take you out can be really beneficial long term. So you even said it yourself that the guy next to you very likely had nothing under his shroom, and you were right as he had a coin. However, I feel like you missed out on an opportunity to take him out. It didn't have to be in an instant, as you could have waited until he passed the first set to get a second place box in first. And honestly, this wouldn't have even been a tough spot for you had you not screwed up your driving and still didn't try to take the guy out. It can be nerve-wracking when you only have one protection item, but even so, you very easily could have taken the guy out with nothing to worry about. Try to get into the habit of timing reading your opponents after the set so you can get a box before passing them. Now, this was a tough situation for you to be in. I don't think slowing down a ton would have been a good option, as you had a tight pack right behind you. However, I think the guy aiming wide was a tiny bit predictable. I say this because his teammate was right behind you, and generally, you want to stay outside of your mate's line when you're getting blued. So, there is a chance that staying to the left wouldn't be all that bad of an idea in some situations. This was a pretty tough spot for you, so it makes sense that you barely got hit here. But going back to my last point, the guy who got blued was the same guy you didn't red. Even in the unluckiest situations, sometimes it's best to go back and think about other events or screw-ups that happened prior to the unlucky part. Had you taken the guy out, your team could have held blue for you, and you would be good to go. As a result of you not doing so, you couldn't catch up. So yeah, next time, try to take advantage of every opportunity you get to take someone out while still protecting yourself. It can prevent unfortunate situations like that of the blue shell from happening. Next up is GBA Mario Circuit. I think Ty played this race pretty well. He was patient, he was calculated, and he took advantage of opportunities. These are all qualities you want to have when you have to make decisions on the fly. Now, I really liked that you used your golden immediately here. Generally speaking, having a golden in your first slot after this set is never a great sign, especially with a bill in your pocket. Spamming your golden right away is just really important, whether you want to grab the box before the finish line or not, as I've seen so many people begin goldening in the first shortcut, and it's probably the most useless golden strat on this track. In combination with the bill in your pocket, great job on spamming your golden immediately and stopping before the box before the finish line. And as you know, that went a long way. I know it may seem like common sense to wait as long as you did to get a double box here, but patience really is a virtue. On top of waiting for people, especially considering you were an 8th, which is never a good sign, you got 2 items in 11th when you weren't even that far behind. Again, it made complete sense to wait as long as you did, but this is a very important point to make. People can be so quick to snag a double box when they think they have the chance, only for it to get stolen and then they're itemless. Patience can go a long way when trying to nail a double in this game, so keep that up. It paid off here without a doubt. Now, this was definitely the highlight of your performance this race. There are a few factors that go into why it was such a great idea to call the second shock where you did. First of all, 2 of you guys were in dodges. In combination with the shock holder, that's half your team benefiting from the shock. Additionally, your teammate had already activated a star, and if you hesitated even just a little bit, there's a chance he could have been shocked out of his star by the time the shock came through. And just in general, hesitating with shock can be a recipe for disaster. You'll miss out on opportunities, and you could help out the other team in the process. So even though you did dodge one of them, which you had no realistic way of telling they went into a ghost, I think this second shock was a great call on your end. Had you not dodged the guy in the ghost, your team would have gotten top 4, but great job either way. Lastly, we have Dolphin Shoals. This was more of a front-heavy race for Ty, and I think he played decently. But of course, there are a few things to go over, so let's talk about them. While you did get the bill extension, you still should have used your bill earlier. Given where you were compared to the pack in front of you, there was next to no chance that you wouldn't make it to the extension before passing too many people. Of course, this is just a small thing, as all you had to do was use your bill a bit earlier, but yeah, for next time, either use your bill as soon as you touch the finish line, or as you touch the first set. Then you'll be given her full throttle. I think it was a solid move to predict shock over the glider, although there is a chance you could have waited a bit longer. The thing is, your team already had a good chunk of top spots with only one person at best in the back. When this is the case, the opposing team could feel comfortable and wait until lap 3 to use their shock, or in this case, their shocks. I don't think it was a bad thing to use your star here, just to be safe, but given their back presence compared to your team, there was a good chance that they didn't take into account you guys pulling shock, but that's only because they didn't have to. Just something to consider for the future though. Now, I know this part of the race didn't really mean much in terms of how you finished the race, but I still think you could have played a bit more carefully. For starters, you were too close to the guy to take doubles directly after he took it. It's easy to underestimate how far away you really need to be in these situations, so in future situations like this, just take a single box. Additionally, you should have spaced out to let your mates grow without having to worry about getting flattened. You were really close to screwing both of your teammates over, so I think if you're already close to your teammates and you know you'll grow before them, you should space out just in case of lag, and hopefully your team will be good to go. So yeah, in general, try to play a bit more safely in tight situations like these, and you'll have a lesser chance of screwing yourself or your team over. In the end, it didn't matter because you were still able to get a really solid race, so great job! I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And Ty, I think you played pretty well in the races you submitted. I think Yoshi Valley was the main race that showcased your flaws, and the other 2 races showcased what you're doing right, and a few things you could just patch up a wee bit. I think trying to be a bit more, but not too much more, of an aggressor would be your main step to taking your gameplay up a notch. I hope this video gave you the answers you were looking for, and maybe even the answers to the questions you didn't know you had. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, have yourselves a fantastic day, and keep on giving her, bud.